This is Duelist, bringing you map 4 of a potential 5 of the Saiph Triumvirate attack on the TerraCap Confederation-held world Elgin. Burner's Saiph Triumvirate currently holds a 2-to-1 advantage. Burner needs to win only one more map in order to take the planet into his faction's control. This will be a 4 versus 4. The rules prohibit the use of flying assets in this few of players. We switched the map from Monument to IvTower due to some technical issues. Generally the same environment. Not quite as open, not quite as big, but also well known by just about every player of this game. One of my favorite tactics on this map is to take a harasser and get on top of this mountain right here, near the center, and grab a harasser with, say, LRMs or Rack 2s, and just sit there and wait for the enemy to come by, go over the little edge here and fire off my salvo, and then the enemy comes to find me, even if they have jump jets, unless they're another hovercraft or a flying asset. I can go to any side and usually get away just fine. Certainly a little bit of an unfair tactic, I guess, but I enjoy it. But anyway, this is a test of strength game. Both teams must destroy the other opponent within a 30-minute time frame in order to be victorious. Each team is limited in what they can take by a map drop weight limit, by a mathematical formula called the battle value system, which basically means that if you want to sit there and take the best assets in the game, you're going to have to compensate with the rest of your drop list with taking some crap stuff. It's just to make sure that somebody doesn't go out there and take way more firepower than the other team. Finally, each faction has a fleet of assets that, while not necessarily persistent beyond an individual campaign or an individual 5-map scrimmage, you do have to keep in mind that if you take a certain asset, it will not be available to use for a few maps, as it basically goes into repairs, if you will. So, let's go down and see what the Eridani Light Horse team
User was moved to your channel.
Starchild is playing. So, as I comment on this video here that we're recording live, we have a Shadowcat, a Uzil, an Awesome, and another Uzil. You see quite a few Awesomes in here and lots of Shadowcats, not so many Uzils, and this will be the first match in 4 months that I've seen one team take 2 Uzils. This will be very, very interesting. Some long-range weapons all the way around here. Looks like 4 PPCs and medium beam lasers along with a large pulse. This game is open to anyone. It can come in and spectate and in between maps, and if we get a chance, we bring in players on the next map and they are able to participate. This particular one is a 4 versus 4, but we've had as many as 7 versus 7, and the game is designed to support probably all the way up to about 10 on each team. Now, over here we basically have 12th VR with special guest drop leader Burner. Burner has been the drop commander for the Saiph Triumvirate and the faction leader of them and the Capellan Partisans through most of this event over the past 4 months. Burner and Snowgiven are both in Madcap Primes, So LRMs, lots of range, and underrated asset, I would argue, because you're able to use those LRMs up close, and certainly more of a support mech than a front line, but certainly because of the chassis, it is dangerous nonetheless. Now, Warlord Kentax is here in a Raven. I believe that's the AC-10 and 2 medium beam laser. Raven, good electronics package, and Alpha Cat is in a Chimera with, I believe that's a PPC, and 2 lasers. And now we're 2 minutes into the match. Burner's team is heading along the river here. And since they are the clan, we're going to stick to the edge of the map here to utilize their long-range assets. As you can see, they have a very good sight line, very good view along here. I'd like to remind you that while we have these YouTube videos, Burner is live streaming this event at twitch.tv/Burner77. Twitch.tv/Burner77. And we have a hold at 27:30, as we've had a random disconnect. Since there has been no contact, they will be able to wait for their player to reconnect and get back in. The timer will continue to run, and there will have to be special considerations if the match ends up having to go past the 30-minute time. The player is able to come back on foot to their asset unless it gets unless it despawns, in which case they are out. And the battle supervisor for this match is Starchild, and he is the one that has disconnected, so I am the associate deputy, and so I'll keep an eye on things. Basically, the two teams don't quite see each other unless they have, well, the Raven might be able to pick up these mechs. So we just have to wait for Starchild to reconnect and hop back in his mech, and then it should be pretty quick action. In their current positioning, Kentax will probably, well, yeah, he should be able to hit radar if any of these guys have the radar on, unless they have GECM. Standard practice is to leave the GECM off, or to leave the radar off, so they might not see each other quite yet. And as for visual, if ELH AIM has optics, not quite able to see the enemy there. Gonna wait for Starchild to reconnect. He's still online on the TeamSpeak server, so it should only be a matter of a moment or two here. Usually when you have downtime like this, you can talk strategy with your teammates and plan out things. I've been part of matches where we've had almost first contact, we see each other, and then somebody accidentally disconnects, and you'll be sitting there staring right at the enemy, and you'll be sitting there and forming strategy for 2 minutes, and then it gets kind of different. I've actually had a match where I was in rolling with 3 Demolisher tanks, and we came out there with, found the enemy, we had a disconnect, and we had a hold about 300 meters out from the enemy that had better position and better weaponry on us, and we ended up losing 2 of our 3 Demolisher tanks in a matter of about 30 seconds once the match reconvened. And so it's just all about patience right now, and Starchild should be getting in here relatively shortly. Now, there is a case that if too much time does go by, that we may restart the map with the same assets. Oh, Starchild is, I'm sorry, Starchild's not the one that that had the disconnect. Instead, actually, I'm sorry, it's Burner, and as the faction leader for his team, that is definitely somebody that you have to have in there to play this. And so he's getting back in. We've had about 4 minutes go by. By the time he gets in there, probably 6 minutes of a hold, but we should probably have enough time, given that the teams will run into each other pretty quickly here. Kentax is exiting his mech, and given the circumstances, that's probably fine because we don't want that mech to despawn here. Mechs that don't have pilots in them will despawn after a little bit. And if you'll excuse me just a second, ladies and gentlemen.
User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
And I'm recording the video of the match. We currently have a hold as we're just waiting for Burner to get back to his mech here. We will get any pilots that are out there waiting to come in and play. We'll get them in on the very next map, which shouldn't take probably more than about 10 minutes, I'd imagine. Burner's a minute or two out from his mech. He has to go on foot. I know it'd be tempting to allow him to get a VTOL out there and head out, but that can just lead to too many variables, and so just patiently wait for Burner to maximize his jumps here. Currently we're at a 4 versus 4, and soon enough, if we have everybody stick around, we probably have enough for a 5 versus 5, or maybe even a 6 versus 6. Anybody that wants to come in and watch the Chaos March is certainly more than welcome to join the Chaos March 1 no password server and spectate. We do ask that people don't come in and join the game, just because that can lead to some confusion. And the downtime between maps has certainly gotten better in the past couple of weeks. Not that they were ever terrible, and be able to get everybody mech sooner rather than later. Now, believe it or not, we've actually had some battle armors participate in this game. We've had cases where leaders will send out a battle armor that only has 1 life, and other cases where they get to take the APC with infinite respawns. And you'd think that with infinite respawns, the battle armor would be able to have quite the impact, but outside of using a tag laser, so far in this match, usually the battle armor's only been able to have a real impact against slow-moving assets. We really haven't had too many circumstances of people taking multiple battle armor. I know we've had a few matches where there's been 2, and teaming up can certainly help, but we've yet to see anything crazy like a full platoon of battle armor. So here we go. We are back underway. The supervisor will signal go. And here we go. Both teams are about a kilometer out from each other, and we are back underway at about the 21 mark, so should be plenty of time for battle. Burner's team's waiting for him to get his mech up. He's sitting back. They have discovered the enemy, I believe, on radar, and are moving back. Remember that they have long-range assets in those pair of Madcat Primes they have, and the support mechs are not going to do a ton of damage against the enemy. And we have opened up fire. Machine guns, long-range lasers. Shouldn't be long before we get the LRM locks. Here come the LRMs from the Madcat Primes. They're going to hit the Awesome. Both salvos hit. 4 salvos of missiles. This is the LXPL Awesome moving forward. Both teams are rushing in, realizing the long-range advantage that Burner's team has. They're completely focusing fire on the Awesome right now. It's just getting rained upon with missiles at the moment. They're closing the distance. Pentax and Zoidberg are about 200 meters out. The Awesome's about 600 meters out, and the Awesome is just completely focusing fire on inside the river. It has a good cooling advantage, and it's just raining down those lasers on the Mad Cats right now. The medium mech is moved up to range, while the Lynx in his Uzil is sitting back, plucking away from distance. Starchild and Zoidberg have moved up to close range against the Chimera and the Mad Cats. Now the Chimera has moved in against the Awesome. The Awesome is down. And so is Warlord Kentax. Clan has lost 3. This should be over quickly. Burner's all that's left, and we will go to a 5th map, which will be TSA Jungle Impact. This is Duelist. We'll see you later.